Okay, we've hit the do not disturb. Let me make sure my lens is clean. How's everybody doing? Oh, well. Hey, that was on the ad. That wasn't me. You can't, demonetize me. Hi for Rolling Stones music. Let me pop out the chat here. How's it going, everybody? I am thrilled to bits to say, as you can see, oh, ow. Hang on a second. Let me just fix this. As you can see, I'm making meatballs and freezing peppers and all stuff. You'll get a video on our half acre homestead tomorrow. Let me say hi now that you give everybody a chance to get in here, and then I'll say hi, okay? But I tell you what, hi Seashell. Met The Bubba. Oh, I knew. I knew I was a grandmother the moment I found out they were pregnant. And I knew I was in love before I ever clapped eyes on his picture. But when he was put in my arms, it was a whole new feeling. It was a whole new kind of love. God, he's so priceless. So precious, so smart, so handsome, brilliant. He slept a lot, and he didn't like being held like this because he had gas. He had to have a poop. But my shoulder, there was a point there where before we had a real visit, right? He was like, okay, there's so many people and I gotta poop, and but she got, he had his poop, his diaper changed, and she was holding him and he fell asleep. She said, here, take him, he's asleep now, right? And he went right here, face down, and folded himself over my boob, stuffed his right hand into my armpit, put his other hand right here, and he slept on me for an hour. I had to have throw cushions propping up my arm on the arm of the couch because my shoulder was going, and my wrist and my elbow. But I'll tell you something. Well, I don't know how to describe how much I love that baby. Now, it's a whole other feeling, a whole new layer of emotions from being a parent for the first time, right? Parents, for the first time parents, have a lot to learn, and they know how they want to do things, and they know how they want things to, and they know how they want, their baby and all that stuff. Remember, like I'm not putting pictures out there, right? But when you get to be a grandparent, it's like all the worries of education and diapers and bills and all that shit's gone. You're just holding a little piece of your own immortality, and you look, and when he smiles at you, it's like I saw everybody in my family that I've ever loved, and his mom's family, all kind of mixed up in this one little unique human being that I recognize, right? I hear you, Donna, but I was telling Briar goes, yeah, babies, babies are cool, but babies are babies, man, right? And I said, no, Briar, trust me, because I was an aunt before I was a mother. The first time that little piece of humanity that has your DNA in it looks at you or grabs a fistful of your beard, you're going to know that this ain't just any baby. This is a part of your blood and your love and your life. So we're on our way home, right? And Briar goes, yeah, Mom, he's not just any baby. I said, told you, didn't I? And he goes, well, I said, you just never experienced it before. Trust me, it's cool. Well, I mean, it'll be easier once he's able to support his head. Let me say hi to everybody. And I'm sorry if I'm going to wax poetic about my grandbaby, but that's just my God-given right. Okay. Participants. Hey, barefoot chickens. Aloha, seashell, my love. Danny love. My Danny love. Hey, Deborah C. Donna Rowe, Donna Stafford, Fiona B. Laura Higgins, Linda Bop. Bop-a-doo-doo-wop. Matthew, hi, darling. Michelle Maria, Misty, Roxanne, Sandy, Ninja Clan, Kathy, Tina Elliott. Oh, God, I lost my chat again. I don't like this new setup I have on here. It just doesn't work. That's as far as I got, folks. Sorry, but every time I do this, things pop out and then disappear. And Wanda, hi. So I got to have him sleep on me for a while. And then he woke up and had a feed and a change. And then she put him in one of his tie-dyed onesies, which if you look at the snapshot of today's, you'll see a little bit of his body there and his little limp arm. But I got to sing to him, and he showed his dimples. Oh, my God, his dimples are like that. And thank you, Tanya. And you all got tested up with joy. Hey, Oma, thank you. Yeah, I know. It's like tearing up. I get it, right? So I sang to him. He's his grandy's darling, right? Because you can make that fit a baby, a girl, a baby boy, your baby, your grandbaby, your dog, right? But, and Gracie met him. She was a little really excited at first, but we met on neutral ground. So it wasn't like her house. But she, after a while, she wasn't happy until finally she got, he was sleeping on me and she could get on the couch beside me. Like she was happy to see Arthur, happy to see Mel, and she wanted to stuff her nose right up the baby's butt to find out who he was. And once she figured out who he was, she's fine, just really excited. Like she's a really energetic dog. So once he was sleeping on me and she laid down beside me, she was like, put her head like next to me and she's like, okay, I got my mommy now. Everything's cool. Right? So I got to sing to him and he smiled. And then when he was, after he had his nap, right? And he got changed into his onesie, right? And I'm holding them. And the thumbnail you're seeing for this video is me and him talking. And I'm talking to him because he's now awake. And he recognized me from the phone. We bitch about technology, but a good smartphone, right? Or a good phone takes really good video. And he recognized me, right? He's like, oh, that's the voice of the lady on the phone, on the picture, right? So then I started talking to him and he tried so hard to talk. He was like, and he would have these little beautiful explosions of sound. And I understood every word. I would talk to him and I'd say, hey, Bubba, how's a baby boy? He's a grandy boy. And he'd go, ah. And it was like a million little darts of love hit my heart because he was talking to me. And he'd go, and he'd work so hard. And then he'd come out with, ah. or something, Oh, right. He's brilliant. He's just brilliant, you know. But we had a conversation. Like we were there for 10, 12. We were there for like 4 hours. And we did a lot for us. Arthur and Mel treated us to Vietnamese food, which was really good. I think I prefer Cantonese though, but Vietnamese, is the rice noodles and veg and shrimp and spring rolls and sauce were really good. Spring rolls were amazing. And so I held him as much and as often as I could until the very end. Like when I was talking to him, my shoulder, my elbow, my wrist, and even my thumb were like, I was in agony, but I wasn't missing a moment. I wasn't missing a moment. And we're going to do it again real soon because, I'm an addictive personality and I'm addicted to my grandbaby. Bubba. He's my Bubba. But once he's able to hold up his own head, holding him won't be as difficult, right? But when they're only, 2 months old or 6 months or 6 weeks old, they're still, he's moving his head. That's what you got to be careful about. It's like he's really, you got to make sure you got to support the head, not just because they can't lift it, but he's learning to lift. And every once in a while, he'll make a sudden move, right? It's like, okay, we got you here, Best addiction ever, Linda. You're absolutely right. I'm on a whole, I've got a, every time someone new comes into your life, especially new family, you learn a whole new level of love. Right? And I'm not saying one is above the other or below, like children. Right? I love my kids. I love my sons so much, so much that I had them. Right? I'm not talking about the other thing. I'm just saying, I wanted those children, C-sections or not. Right? But your grandbaby, right? Like your husband is a different kind of love. Your mother is a different kind of love. Your father's a different kind of love. There's parental love. There's love for your children. There's love for your nieces and nephews, your siblings, your parents, your grandparents. But your first grandchild, you would have to have a heart of stone not to fall in love when you hold them for the first time and they look in your eyes and you recognize everybody you love and that whole little bit of piece of uniqueness that is them mixed in. I want to move closer. But hey Crystal. So yeah, it was wonderful. And we're going to be doing it again soon, I hope, real soon. It was a bit of because I was really stressed and excited. And I didn't want the baby to smell marijuana on me. So I took an edible there before. And I took an edible while I was there so that I could hold him. But yeah, it's time to get back into vegetables. Fruit, vegetables, and bouncing on my thing because I want to have some fun with my grandkid this summer. And I don't want my shoulder to be a problem anymore. I'm getting real tired of pain being a problem, right? But I'll tell you something. We had a conversation and I told him. I said, soon as you're old enough to go to school and your parents, you're home for the summer and they're working, it's Camp Grandy, man. You're going to get into the dirt and swim in the pool with Grandy and sit by the fire and dig carrots and can things and plant things. And there's just going to be a whole other life at Grandy's house. Parent approved, of course. But there's going to be a whole life at Grandy's house. You know, it's like I wouldn't buy them gifts that the parents didn't approve of. And now Santa Claus might put a toy Jeep under, the driving type of Jeep when they're like 3 or 4. Yeah, let's put that under the tree from Santa. You know why? Because it wasn't from me. We're going to have, and you should have seen Howie hold him, right? Arthur was 2 when I met Howie. And we were drinking at the beginning. He drank daily when Briar was a baby. Didn't mean he didn't love him. Didn't mean he didn't snuggle him. But he never changed a diaper, and he doesn't really remember a lot. To see him hold his grandson, well, let's just say the picture is so beautiful it's on my desktop now. It was like I waited and I saw him again. I saw the man I fell in love with again. He's always there. And I love him different now than I did ever then. But it was, we're going to have to get a family portrait because, yeah, there was a lot of pictures taken, but we're going to get a family portrait done. I want a family thing done. Oh, I didn't just see that baby. His sock fell off. I was sucking on his toes. Like I went, oh, look at the toe. Nom, 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 nom. And Briar goes, there she goes. And then I was like, in his neck. And I was on his cheeks and rubbing his belly. And yeah. If you're not a grandparent, if you've never been a grandparent for the first time, you have no idea. The absolute new layer to this onion has been added. A new whole other different kind of love that just enriches your heart, your soul, your mind, your feelings. I'm blessed, really blessed. And Mel was so patient with me because I know as a grandmother, she, I should have been able to hold him the entire time I was there, but I just couldn't. Right? Hey, city girl. I have to. My children are so good to me. They never tell mama and papa no. They're really spoiled us with grandbabies. Thank you, Fiona B. Thank you. Yeah, I understand, right? But Mel is really wonderful and patient and tolerant with me. Arthur's pissing on doorposts. I was like, nobody's going to tell me how to raise my child. I said, I'm not going to tell you how to raise your child. I'm just saying, you're a first-time parent, and there may be things you want to ask me sometime. Don't let the superiority complex of you being a parent for the first time outweigh your judgment when you may need some help from an experienced person. I said the whole point of being a grandparent and having a grandparent in the child's life is so that we've done it already. And we may have done, and I said to Briar, like I said, look, I know, there was no argument, but we were talking and I said, look, I know, I wasn't the greatest parent. I wasn't the greatest mom. But you got to allow me the experience of learning from my mistakes so that you get to learn from my mistakes. I said, I'm not the person who raised you, right? And Briar went, just a minute, Mom. What did I say before I said that? I said, I know I'm not mother material anymore. That's what I said. I'm not mother material anymore. I'm grandmother material. And I explained, right? And Briar goes, just a minute, Mom. Remember, Briar's going to be 30 next week. Okay. Just a minute, Mom. He said, everyone makes mistakes. And you're a good mom. You are a good mother. See? But so anyway, it wasn't even an argument. It was just like, I'm not going to let anybody tell me how to raise my child. And I went, because we were bringing up the discussion of, I brought up the discussion of, we were having a discussion about when Arthur was like 5 months, he was 5 months old, and I had to go to Bancroft. My dad took us up to Bancroft so I could go to the hospital and have an ultrasound because I was having ovary issues again. And he had like a bucket car seat that was a sitter chair. He just lift it right out and set it down. And my aunt went to give him. Now, my aunt at the time was in her 70s. Okay. And she went to give him a shortbread cookie. And I went, oh, God, because I was just getting him on baby food. Right. And those cookies that, you can make into cereal or let them chew on. And she went to give him a shortbread cookie, and I went, oh, no. And I went to reach to take it out of her hand, and she snatched her hand back, and she looked at me. And in that expression was, are you really going to tell me, a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, when I know how old a baby can be, to have a shortbread cookie? That was all said in one look, and I just went, okay. She didn't say a word. She just pulled her hand back and went, and that was it. Okay, give him the cookie. And I was telling that story, and Arthur's like, well, nobody's going to tell me what I can and cannot do, blah, 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 blah. And I said, this was before a previous conversation. And I said, no, right? I'm not, it's like nobody's going to have seniority over me just because they're older and they've done it before. It's like, no, you're missing the point. The point of having grandparents in your family and involved with the children is because they're not worried about bills. They're not worried about clothing you. They're not worried about, life lessons and setting up boundaries as parent-child rather than, you got enough friends. You don't need any more friends. You need a parent, blah, 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 blah. I'm just here. It's like, what do you want to do? You want to learn how to roll meatballs? You want to make cookies? You want to dig in the garden? You want to play in the pool? You want to ride in a car? I said to Mel, we're going to get little ear protection for him if we ever take him to the track. She said, I've already got it. That's Mel. But, Arthur is a first-time parent. And I know him. He's got a very analytical brain where he knows exactly where all the things I did wrong and all the things his other family did wrong, his bio dad and that did wrong. And he, by God, isn't going to make those mistakes. Good for you. I hope you don't. But, don't look askance at experience that has come from lessons learned of being a parent. Right? Makes sense? Does that make sense? When Briar said you were a good man and mom, it made me tear up. Yeah, because I remember a line. Did anybody ever see the movie Parenthood? Right? Hey, Diana, if you haven't seen the movie Parenthood, right? Steve Martin's talking to his dad. I think it was Jason Robards who played that. Howie! Was it Jason Robards who played Steve Martin's dad in Parenthood? Yes, it was Jason Robards. Love that man. And he said, how did you do it? He said, well, he had a lot of help from whiskey or whatever, but that might be a totally different movie. He said, you never he was talking about his youngest son, Steve Martin's younger brother, how he's, gambling and he's wants the easy way out and he always wants money and blah, he's not, responsibilities. And he said, "Are you going to help him?" And he said, "Of course I'm going to help him." Right? He said, "What do you do?" He said, "It's going to it's going to put off retirement." Right? He said, "But he's my son. What do you do?" Right? And he said, "You never reach the goalpost. You never get to spike the ball and say, 'Touchdown, I'm done.' You never stop being a parent." And then Steve Martin, because Steve Martin really never got along with his dad because he thought his dad was a crappy parent, right? And he said, and then he said, "You never reach the goalpost. You never stop being a parent." And that's when Steve went, "So-and-so's in therapy. Justin won't stop butting things with his head. Taylor won't stop kissing all the boys at school." And his dad went on his face. He said, "You worry too much, son." And I went, yeah, Hey, Gypsy Mama, Edie, I have to send you an MSG to tell you about something that went on with me. You'll roll on the floor. Please do. Hey, Tass. That used to be a school in Peterborough called Thomas A. Stewart, and the short form was Tass. We have to remember that there was no SM internet, and we never got pictures unless mailed, and you went to see them in person. Exactly. Well, that's why they're so fiercely protective over his image on the internet. And I totally understand that, right? Like my sons had to teach me that it's not okay to post pictures of me on the internet without my permission, just because you're my mom. Hence, you never see pictures. You very rarely do you never see pictures of Briar. Oh my God, he was so cute. Mel goes, here, Uncle Briar. And Briar's sitting on the couch holding him like, not like this, or not like this, but he's holding him like there's his neck and there's his bum. And the baby's just like totally crashed out. And I said, "Well, maybe he'd be more comfortable if you put him in your arm or whatever." And he goes, "Actually, Mom, this is pretty good. He looks pretty comfortable." He's just flaked right out snoozing on Uncle Briar. And, I got pictures of them doing the dab and all kinds of fun stuff, right? It was like 4 hours. And I can't wait to do it again. But I'm going to start, it's winter. I've put on winter weight and all that stuff. And vegetables are expensive. But I got a plan, right? So, life with the Wolfies, folks. Get ready for more bouncies. More bouncy videos. So, yeah, that's why we got to be careful. We got to protect. It is, just because it's my friends on Facebook doesn't mean they don't have friends of friends of friends that are lurking child molesters or stuff. I'm not putting my baby's picture out there. I'm not putting Bubba's picture out there. No way. Not until he says, "Yeah, come on, Gran. It's social media. Hell, by the time he's old enough to consent, we'll probably be trapped in an internet that's part of our daily lives that, you can't function without, like in 1984 or something." Hey, Andrew. Hey, darling. It's all just a blink. Yeah. Quick question. Who is the most handsome man ever? Howard. Is, my dad. Who's the most handsome man ever? I had a thing for Charlton Heston. If you're going purely on looks, yeah, I had a thing for that misogynist asshole. I loved Charlton Heston. I was like 7 when I fell in love with him. The handsomest man ever. Well, we don't really get to tell. You know why? Because most of the people we see on the internet or in social media or on in, movies and stuff, it's not who you see. You look at a picture of Johnny Depp in court, and he's just got this pot belly and he's not all made up looking sexy. He's just a dude. He's just an old man. I love him, right? But the truth is, depends. Who's the sexiest, most natural? I'm going to say Christopher Platt. There you go. He's too greasy looking for me. Charlton is up there, yeah. Oh, Elvis wasn't handsome. He was beautiful. Elvis wasn't handsome. He was angelic looking. You will be allowed to share the story with your viewers, just too long to put here. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I have been Elvis binging on his concerts. Really? I've never actually seen one. I've seen a couple of Elvis movies. It was always his voice, right? It was always his voice. Yeah, he was beautiful, right? I still can't believe Lisa Marie Presley is dead. Pretty sure she was jabbed, right? Clark Gable, Keanu Reeves, to me, is not handsome. Keanu Reeves is... He's more cougar material for me. Sugar Shark material, Keanu Reeves, right? Keanu, truly good actors have their personality shine through in every role they play. And I love Keanu Reeves. There's something in Keanu Reeves that shows, that every role he put, he's more, I don't know, handsome. John Wayne was fucking handsome. Sorry, John Wayne was a handsome man, right? Charlton Heston was gorgeous. John Wayne was handsome. And he was another man who I just, loved growing up. Found out later on he wasn't always a nice guy, but I mean, he kept a lot of his personal life hidden. But, John Wayne was a handsome man. Oh, and Tim Curry was just hot. See, you got to ask me. You don't ask me handsome. That's just one word, right? Makes me think there is a God because he has to be an angel. There you go. Oh, Tom Hardy. Now, Tom Hardy he's not handsome. He's just male. Male. Oh, Tom Hardy. I said to Howie when we watched him play. Oh my God, I can't even remember his name. Howie, who was the criminal guy that Tom Hardy played? Remember, he had syphilis and dementia from syphilis and. Come on, he was a gangster. No, that's Taboo. That I'm saying the movie he played the gangster was losing his mind to dementia. Who was the gangster? Oh my God. Howie. Tom Hardy. Al Capone. He played Al Capone's later, the life of Al Capone as he, as his mind was eaten up with syphilis. Not a pleasant movie. You real deep thinking movie because you don't know what he's seeing, whether it's reality or whether it's in his mind. Brilliant actor. First thing I ever saw him in was the one of the the new Mad Max movie where he was strapped in front of the thing, right? That was Tom Hardy. But then and then I saw him in Taboo and Peaky Blinders. I believe he was in Peaky Blinders. Al Capone, yeah. Yeah, Sean Connery would be considered sexy, handsome and sexy. But that comes mostly from his twinkly eyes, like how he's got eyes like that. Not the rest of it. How he's got the twinkly brown eyes, and it's his Scottish accent and his deep voice. That's the only thing that rumbles my, machinery. Kurt Russell, Patrick Swayze. Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze. Put them together, perfect man in looks. So, Steve McQueen, yeah. Michael Landon was pretty. Michael Landon was another eye candy. He was just eye candy, right? John Bon Jovi's cute. He's cute. Thought my dad was Sean Connery and he was from Scotland. Yeah. Sam Elliott, come on. That's a man, right? And then again, it's the twinkle in the eyes and the deep voice. I never wanted, Sam Elliott in anything other than so I could just lay my ear on his chest and listen to him talk. That's Sam Elliott for me. Bruce Springsteen, I was never a big fan. William Shatner. No. He still manages to look like William Shatner. But I mean, because he must have had a really good plastic surgeon. But I was never a huge fan of William Shatner's acting, never a huge fan of William Shatner. But I got to give him kudos. The guy's still working. God love you, Bill. Canadian Drive. I would jump Sam Elliott's bones, and I know he's got to be way older than me. Oh, Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta had devastatingly beautiful eyes and smile. But Ray Liotta was not really a great-looking guy. His eyes and his smile saved his looks. Hey, Lola Granola! I don't know who Tab Hunter is. No, The Rock. The Rock. The only miss is The Rock and Liam Neeson. And I will find you. Okay, I want Liam Neeson. If I ever meet him, I'm gonna ask him. Okay, do the I'm gonna find you, kill you voice, but tell me you're gonna find me. And you're gonna ravish me, and then I'll live on that for the rest of my life. Just do it in that voice. I'll live on it the rest of my life. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I could run barefoot over that body. Of course, I'd probably kill him. But I just want to dig my toes into his skin and walk all over him and then, roll in him like he was a pile of sweetgrass. And then, oh my God. Who's the other bald guy I like? Vin Diesel. I'm bugging you because you know the answers that I keep forgetting. Vin Diesel. I actually had a dream about Vin Diesel once. When I was losing weight. And I had a dream once. And it was so real. And the only problem was that him and Tom Selleck is Tom. Now, Tom Jones I saw a video on him recently where he was on, I guess, Britain's Got Talent or The Voice or whatever. But a guy came out who was going to sing this song, and Tom Jones was on the panel. He said he recognized the last name, and he said, "I worked with a guy, by that last name." He said, "Yeah, it was my dad." And they sang, and Tom Jones, at 80 some years old, stood up and sang the song that this guy's dad wrote for him a cappella. Well, I don't know if it was a cappella, but no rehearsal, nothing. And that man could still flip my heart over, right? Yeah, that was awesome. Jamie from Outlander. He was better looking in the book. There was no pictures. He just was better looking in the book. I don't even want to talk about Outlander right now because I read that entire series of books and I felt Robert Redford was a pretty boy. He was a pretty boy, but he's aged really well. He's one of those people, like I used to have a thing for Mel Gibson too until he got all weird, right? But Tom is timeless, absolutely. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa. When I found out we were going to Vegas for the first time, I was getting on a plane going to Vegas. I went around the bakery singing Tom Jones songs for days. And Howie said, he doesn't do Vegas anymore, eh? I said, what? Yeah. Brad Pitt. Yeah. Yeah, he was so wasted on Angelina Jolie. He should never have given up Jennifer Aniston. Oh, hey, yeah. Who's the Christian Bale is another really classically handsome man. Eddie Vedder, that voice too. Gerard Butler. Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie P.S. I Love You? Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. I can give me some Denzel. But yeah, but that's part of his acting too. That's part of who his personality. Yeah, Jamie was better looking in the book. Hey, Waldo. Rhonda. I was just Kona, loved it. If I could afford it, I would move there. Oh, you were just in Kona. Okay. Yeah. Great chicken name. Barefoot Chickens. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, wow. I just kind of lost myself. We watched a movie recently and I can't remember where the Crawdads sing. Really good movie, by the way. Till he went crazy. Yeah. Well, and then when he did the movie about the Mayans and stuff, he was like totally getting all his history mixed up and levels of civilization mixed up. And I loved Hugh Jackman. Always loved Hugh Jackman until recently. And then you see, if your acting's wonderful and you're handsome and you do everything right, I just love you to pieces. But when your personality shows you to be a jackass, Hugh Jackman to me is now Hugh Jackass. Like, I'm sure he's allowed an opinion just like everybody else. But when you are famous and you use your opinion to, he come out saying, doing this video on how lucky we all were that Bill Gates wrote us a book on how to save the planet. He's put all the answers out there for you. Really, Hugh? You just went from Hugh Jackman to Hugh Jackass. Sorry! Oh, Elvis, that's Bruce Springsteen. I had to walk out of a concert. I loved seeing Aerosmith, but I was not impressed with Steve Tyler's adore me attitude on stage. He'd like put his leg out and let somebody feel his leg from the, it's like, oh please, right? I love Liam Neeson. Yeah, I know. It's like we're just so lucky, to have someone like Bill Gates give us all the answers in a book on how to live a better life on a better planet or some bloody thing like that. And I went, you're calling, he may be a financial wizard. He may be a computer wizard, but that does not make him a humanitarian philanthropist. Okay? Bill Gates is not that. Bill Gates is about, I want it all, I want it now, and I want more then. Right? So, yeah, Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise because he always reminded me of like my nephews. My nephews were, especially my eldest nephew. He had that wonderful enthusiasm, handsome smile and charisma, like my boys do, like my nephews do, right? But then when I watched him, over the years, he hasn't changed. He's still playing the same roles in the same fashion. I mean, it's almost like all these roles he plays are tailor-made for Tom Cruise so that he doesn't have to change. And then he came out of being huge on the Church of Scientology, and I went, oh, okay, we're done. We're so done. So, I mean, yeah, Tom Cruise, if you like, well, let's put it this way. Um, Days of Thunder was Top Gun on a track. You feel me? Right? Although I watched his recent movie, the new Top Gun movie, and it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. But the truth is, Tom Cruise has a certain style of acting, and that's all he knows. James Garner. I loved him in Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. James Garner. I still watch him. I just save my, I have to put on my, okay, this is Hollywood glasses, or I'll tear it down. I'm 13 years of doing, editing YouTube videos, and I'm not that great at it. But you start to see patterns in people's acting, you know? Tropic Thunder. That was filmed on Kauai too. What was Tropic Thunder? Was that the one, the race car one? Or was I thinking Born on the 4th of July? Howard Keel. There's another man's man. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Do you know Howard Keel is Sigourney Weaver's dad? A Man Called Otto. I've never heard that. Lee Majors, another pretty boy. Yeah. Don't matter doesn't matter hell of beans what happens to me, but the world has only one Santa Claus. We can't lose you. Lee Majors. I love him. Sheen was that as well. A Man Called Tom Hanks. Yeah. I love Tom Hanks. Always have loved Tom Hanks. Until he sold to COVID and the pandemic. Oh, I'm not going to shut up now. A comedy, Tom played a movie producer and he was hysterical. He's an awesome actor. And Tom Hanks, sorry, is one of those brilliant actors who can put personal experience right through and show right through. When he played Mr. Rogers, that was amazing, right? That was an amazing movie. Tom Hanks is a brilliant, actor. Brilliant actor. period, full stop. My first favorite movie of his, first two favorite movies was Splash and Big. Christian Slater, there's a name I haven't seen in a while. Last thing I saw him in, I think, was Interview with a Vampire. You know, you got Tom Cruise, and you got what's her face's husband? Who were we talking about earlier? Now, Burt Reynolds was a handsome man until, he became more, but he managed to stay looking like Burt Reynolds his whole life. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. And then you throw Christian Slater in there, and it's almost like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt become the comic relief, because he's like, I just gotta ask, you know what I mean? And Tom Cruise is like, oh, whining. Do you know who the real star of that movie was? Who's your little girl, dear, from Spider-Man? Kirsten Dunst was the star of that movie. I have never seen a child play such an adult role in my life. She just owned that movie. Yeah, Howard Keel is Sigourney Weaver's father. I don't know a lot of stuff, but I have a whole font of useless information in my head at all times. It's keeping things cool. Kiefer Sutherland. Lost Boys. Oh my God. Do you remember Stand By Me? With, oh my God, these childhood actors. But Kiefer Sutherland was in that. Stand By Me, not Lost Boys, Stand By Me. It was Dennis Quaid. I used to have a thing for Dennis Quaid. Corey Feldman, thank you, Yellowbird. Yellowbird, up high in banana tree. Yeah, Dennis Quaid was another one guy who was always full of himself. I like Dennis Quaid, but Stand By Me was a brilliant. Daydream Believer. River Phoenix, yeah. Well, John Travolta, okay, listen. You want to hear my real opinion? I loved Vinnie Barbarino. Everybody did. Like, yeah, River Phoenix was Joaquin Phoenix, his brother, and he died of a drug overdose, didn't he? But I saw a cartoon somewhere. I think it was like, and there was a lot of tongue in cheek, and it's like, hey, John and Tom won't come out of the closet. What are they doing in there? Just saying. So I love John Travolta. And the only thing I haven't seen, has anybody ever seen Tom Cruise? Now, everybody in the, who's gone down a rabbit hole or two is going to know why I'm asking this question. Has anybody ever seen Tom Cruise in a role wearing a dress? If you remember the movie, let me know. If there's a movie, I don't know. If there's a movie out there with Tom Cruise in a dress. Like I watched, was it Shampoo? Where John Travolta played, what's her face's mom? Or was it, no, Hairspray. I knew it was a hair product. Hairspray. And where John Travolta, not Tom Cruise, John Travolta played a woman in it. It was awesome, actually. It was really well done. But, I'm just going to look. Let me see. Hang on a second. Let's just do this. Okay. Has Tom Cruise ever wore a dress on in a movie? Never hear anything about it. Cocktail. So I wouldn't know, right? Oh shoot, now I've lost my chat again. Hang on. There we go. Richard Gere. Warren Beatty he was okay. He was okay. You know, Paul Newman back in the day, he was okay. Right? Ooh. Which brings The Godfather. Oh my God. Howie! The Godfather! The Godfather! Oh, thank you, Marlon Brando. Al Pacino is not a good-looking man. He is ruggedly handsome, as far as I'm concerned. See, yeah, he played the mom. I'm talking about Tom Cruise. Al Pacino is a ruggedly handsome man. Marlon Brando, they broke the mold. Except when Burt Reynolds was younger, he looked a lot like Marlon Brando when he was young. Yeah, Marlon Brando. Well, Sam Elliott, we talked about him a long time ago. I just want to lay my head on his chest and listen to him talk to me, right? You know what? I have never been a big De Niro. I like acting, as far as I'm concerned, a great actor. But looks, not my cup of tea. It's like I said to Howard the other night. I said, I always had a type in men. Except when I was like 16, tall, dark, and handsome, and hairy-chested, with blue eyes. Except my 16-year-old boyfriend, when I was 16, he had brown eyes. Tall, fair-skinned, blue eyes, dark hair. That's, that was my type. And then I met Howard, short little leprechaun with a bald chest and, questionable teeth and brown eyes. And it just goes to show that you don't get to choose who you fall in love with. Love finds you, right? If you're smart. Who's Dean Cain? Talking about sugar sharks. Jared Pulaski. No, Jensen Ackles, sorry. Jared Pulaski's the tall 7-foot dude. Dean, the guy who plays Dean Winchester. If I was single and 30 years younger, I'd be stalking that. and he, it's like when we watch it, like, Sam's all sensitive and, the voice of reason. And Dean is 3 things. He's hot. He's abrupt. And when he has to be emotional, he's really masculine about it. And it, when a man's man, like he plays the role to perfection. He really does. Because he's like, yeah, we'll just kill it. Hey, dude, you don't hit a girl kind of thing, right? But you know what I mean? Mom, you only got one mom, right? Dean Winchester's character is very, very, he's a guy. He's a guy's guy, right? He's like, no, don't scratch my car. I love the scene when his mom comes back. We just watched it. We're almost done. We're on season 13, I think. We're almost on season 13. James Brolin. Thank you for reminding me. Hey, Mary Lindsay. Yeah, yeah. You know what though? I look at Howie's eyes, like the picture on my desktop. I wonder if I could show. No, I can't show it to you. The picture. I will post a picture on Facebook of Howie's face while he's holding his baby, his grandbaby. But Christopher Walken is an awesome actor. Ugly as sin. Sorry. I'm surprised I actually know half these names. I'm usually really crap. Well, of course, I'm keep asking Howie, right? You keep asking Howie. He's the name guy. But the truth is, my husband's the most handsome man in the world because he's the only man that can look at me and all he'd have to do is wink or smile or call me lass or slap my butt as he's walking by, and I am a puddle of goo. He just has to look at me. I remember when I worked in the bakery, he would sometimes stop in on his way home from work because if I was working a shift where, I was going to be later than him, he'd stop in on his way home and I'd say, supper's in the crock pot. That's where I learned that. And I'll never forget the feeling every time he walked into the bakery. It was like he made a special trip just to stop and see me. Everybody in the bakery, customers and everybody alike, got a big kick out of how excited I got when he walked in the door. And every time he comes home from work, my heart still flips over when he walks in the door. It's just the way it is. He looks at me in the eyes and I say, I love you, baby. And he goes, yeah. And I am 26 years old again and falling in love out of my own control. Falling in love out of control. Yeah, he's okay. Tom Ellis from Lucifer, he's not bad. Mickey Rourke. Ooh, I loved Mickey Rourke. Well, he got so much work done on his face because he was a boxer. He really was a boxer. And you know what? I still love Mickey Rourke. I think my favorite movie was Go, where he played a methamphetamine cooker. Oh, Briar was whistling in the back seat. Now, but he can't whistle and neither can Howard. They go, they have these weird little whistles, right? But they can hold a tune. But I hear Howie whistle, and I've never heard him sing. But I hear Howie whistle, and my heart just smiles because it means he's feeling good. And anyway, we're on our way home, and Briar has inherited his father's whistle, and I smiled, and I said, I said, just like your dad, it always makes me smile to hear you whistle. And he said, yeah, well, Dad can't whistle either. I said, that's why it makes me smile. 9.5 weeks. I don't think I've ever seen that. So the truth is, I have to get off here and go make some dinner. Start dinner because I'm making a whack of meatballs for the freezer and I'm making Swedish meatballs for supper. You'll probably get the video Tuesday or Wednesday. Remember, I'm still on vacation, sort of. So, and then it's TV time with the hubby. So, yeah, it's steamy. Steamy. Oh, maybe I have seen it. But, who's the guy that played Dracula, dear?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Thank you. I love Gary Oldman as an actor. He has an amazing capacity for character acting. Really well done. Ugly, though. Not a very handsome man. I mean, he's not ugly, ugly. Okay, he's not ugly. He's not fugly. But he's just, he's just very average looking. So his acting is actually spectacular. Hey, Minnesota farmer's wife, how's it going? Thank you, Linda Bob. Alan Rickman. Not handsome. Well, no, wait a minute. Because I loved him in Sense and Sensibility. I've always loved Alan Rickman, another really phenomenal actor. You want to see one of my favorite roles? Watch the movie Dogma. Don't watch it if you have really deep religious beliefs, because it'll probably, especially if you're Catholic, it'll probably just upset you. But I mean, George Carlin's in there. There's another man I've always loved, George Carlin. Not for looks, even though he was pretty hot in his younger days. But George Carlin was just one of my favorite truth tellers. You know what I mean? Loved Alan Rickman. Really sad when he died. But you know who else I've always loved? John Candy. Why? Because John Candy is family. Was family. Andrew Lincoln, Love Actually. Yeah. Anyway, now is the time for us to say goodbye, because I have to go and make food. Or Howie's going to expire because he's been living on peanut butter and toast and cereal since he got out of bed this morning. I went to bed at 7:30 last night, and I did not get out of bed till 9:30 this morning. Now, people ask me, and I'm going to give you some honesty here. People say, I don't know how you do the things you do. I spend literally half my life in bed. It is a lot of work for me to do the things I do on a daily basis, and they don't always get done. But that's because they do get done, because I go to bed at sometimes I go to bed around 9 o'clock at night. I get up at 5 in the morning, make Howie breakfast and lunch, and then I go back to bed till sometimes 10, usually 10, 10:30, but sometimes it's noon. Why? Because I work really hard, and I have fibromyalgia and arthritis, and I'm getting old. So when people go, oh, she just rolled out of bed. Because, because I've started uploading cannabis videos on Rumble, some of the bitch factories found me there and calling me a loser and stuff. And some lady said, you're such a loser. What a grandmother you make is you're such a loser kind of thing. And I went, I thought I'm past it. I'm really past it. I block and delete, not because I censor. I block and delete because I don't like people who use freedom of speech as a way of tearing other people down. There's no value in that, right? So when she said, what a loser, I just went, I'm going to block and delete you, because here I think the only people who call people losers, the only loser are, I heard the only losers were the people that call people losers just for being normal or for being who they are, kind of thing, right? Doesn't get there anymore. I don't go there anymore. Howie said, you're arguing on the internet. I said, no, I'm not. I'm telling her exactly what I think, right? If I was arguing on the internet, I would have said, yeah, I know you are, but what am I? Right? I don't do that. It's like, you know what? If you think I'm a loser, that's your own kettle of insecurities and things. You don't like me? I don't care. It's none of my business what you think about me. But there's one thing you can say. I am who I am. And I don't try and hide it. Right? As a matter of fact, the older I get, the only thing I have left is who I am. My body's deteriorating, So And I looked at it and oh, what a loser, right? Oh, and you know what? I thought about this long and hard. I actually slept on it before I answered. And the thing is there's an opioid crisis going on in North America. Why? Because pain pills were thrown at people. I'm lucky enough that I became allergic to pain pills after the third use. I began opioids just kept knocking me on my ass after the third use. I'm fortunate to be allergic to opioids. Why am I fortunate? Because the only thing that I can have for pain is God-given grown herb. I know it's classed as a drug, but that's just so that they wanted to, that's just the government, right? Classing it, right? The declassification of marijuana has to happen across worldwide. It really does, because it's an herb and it can't kill you. Well, yeah, if you 1,500 pounds, you swallow 1,500 pounds of cannabis, it's going to kill you. So would it kill you if you drop that much on you? You know what I mean? Valentine's Day isn't until Monday, Tuesday. So, yes. I'm allergic to morphine, codeine, Demerol, Toluen, oxy, heroin, any kind of form of opium, all anti-inflammatories. So, yeah, have fun trying to deal with my pain. So anybody who picks on somebody because they choose a natural, or they only have no choice but to choose natural medication over pharmaceutical, and I get called a loser for that, who's the real loser? I'm really fortunate because I have 3 prescription medications that I take, 2 of them daily, one for insomnia, one for mood disorders. And the other is a muscle relaxer that I don't take every day because the marijuana usually does the job, right? I can't take aspirin. That's the problem. It's an anti-inflammatory. And I can't have willow bark just because it's natural. It's, it's natural aspirin. I can't have it, right? I've spent years on the YouTube platform explaining to people, well, you should try this. It's natural. Yeah, well, willow bark is natural aspirin. I can't have either. It's like I'm really grateful that I never tried injecting heroin because it probably would have killed me the first time. Why? Because it's, heroin is real heroin is pure opium, injectable opium. Would have killed me. Gardening is my, my Aunt Jane, God love her. You remember the 70-some-year-old who gave Arthur his first shortbread cookie? She used to have a saying, and I've adopted it. If I get too old to play in the dirt, you might as well just shovel it over me. Because that's what I do. What else would I do? I do everything that I can do within the constraints of my allergies, my medical pain allergies, pain pill allergies, my fibromyalgia, and my arthritis. I do everything I can, right? Otherwise, I might as well just go to bed and never get out. So you find cannabis addictive? Absolutely not, Isabella. Absolutely not. Some people can be psychologically addicted. Now, I can't say it's not addictive because some people who are addicts can be psychologically addicted to how it makes them feel. That's a psychological addiction. But if I go off of marijuana, and I have, because when we travel to the States, I can't use it, can't get it, right? I had At that last time I went to the States, I had to have opioids. And it was the last time I could use them. Right? And I reacted to them. And that was with Gravol and Benadryl and all that just to help. Right? But going, if I had to go off marijuana, the withdrawal would not be from the marijuana. The withdrawal would be from the pain support. Because it's not a happy camper being inside this body without some kind of muscle relaxant that gives you, yes, you still, because you're supposed to feel pain. Painkillers kill pain. And that's not necessarily a good thing. It is when you need to kill pain, like after surgery or something. But pain is a warning. Pain is telling you something's wrong. And if you kill the pain, you can go on to do things that damage your body because you're not feeling the pain. When I'm in a lot of pain and I take like an edible, because smoking only helps me function through pain while I work. But when I take an edible, it's usually at night before I go to bed. And the edible doesn't take the pain away. It just helps me relax enough so that I can manage the pain. Marijuana is a pain manager, and it is not a painkiller. And as for its addictive properties, I am an addict. Thank God I'm allergic to opioids, or I'd be addicted to them. Okay? I haven't had a drink in 25 years because I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm afraid to stick my foot on the gas at the racetrack because I might be an adrenaline junkie. But if I had to go without marijuana for a week or two or more, I would not go through physical withdrawal. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have the withdrawal I went through from drinking. I wouldn't have the withdrawal that I went through every time I had to go off opioids after a surgery. There was withdrawal, right? Can't have, but marijuana, there's no withdrawal. There's shit, I got to take pain pills, right? You earned your master's degree smoking. I earned a 4.0 all the while I use. See, everybody seems to think because the government did a smear campaign back in the 1920s on marijuana. You ever see Reefer Madness? Where they make it like marijuana is like PCPs and heroin and hallucinogens and mushrooms and all that stuff. And by the way, mushrooms, if properly dosed in micro doses along with marijuana, really do give a full pain relief effect. My ex used to say, state of mind learning. Yeah. Okay, Rosie, take care, sweetheart. Oh, gateway drug my ass. It's not. This is the thing. They did a smear campaign on marijuana, and then they had it classified as a drug. It is not a drug. It is an herb. But they've done such a really good job of the smear campaign that people link it with things like heroin and cocaine. No, it's an herb. It's a plant. Cocaine comes from a plant, and it's been bastardized and pharmaceuticalized. But the people in, Colombia used to pick the cocaine and stuff like that for the cartels and stuff. They would, while they were working, they would chew on it. They would chew on the leaf because that was the pain-killing benefit of the coca leaf. What ends up as cocaine is not natural medication, but the coca leaf sure is. I took years herbs and stopped for 15 years. Now I start again. Pain relief means I have a life. The Netherlands, easy to get it. Absolutely. I know. So this is the way it's always worked. And we've bought into it over time. They put this whole campaign on media about, You know, this is what it is, and this is why you need to be afraid of it, and this is what you got to do. And then they go, oh, it's a drug. It's a dangerous drug. And it's like that's why I have that issues with that song Afro Man's, because I got high. Well, some of it's, yeah. Well, I outran the cops. I was gonna pull over for the cops, but I was high. Nobody in their right mind who's high gets out and goes and gets in a car and drives. Because you can't. You can't. You're just in your chair, right? And violence? Come on. The only thing people are going to fight over when they're high is the last slice of pizza. Come on. If you go back and you look at Reefer Madness and you actually, look what classifies drugs, like pharmaceuticals, they're classing it like a pharmaceutical drug. You're going to understand how over the last 100 to 200 years that corporations and government have been shaping how we see right and wrong, good and bad, and they've been lying to us for a very long time. And, I'm sorry for all the people who spent the last 3 years being the last big drive to get the lemmings off the cliff. I hate to tell the corporations and the world organizations and the governments, it didn't work for all of us. Yeah. It depends for me, depending on sativa or indica. Well, indica, yeah. Well, I can't do a really high sativa or I will have a panic attack. Now, I know someone who doesn't like full-on indica because they get a panic attack. And I said, you should try, no, I think you're talking about sativa. No, it's indica. Because their panic attack was stemmed from the fact that they couldn't move. Oh, they got all paranoid because they couldn't move. It's like I melted into the couch. Whereas they found a neurological high, which is what sativa gives you. It's more of a puts pep in your step and gets your brain going bang, 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 bang in 6 different directions at once. That suited them better. So it all depends on A, your type, and B, if you have any kind of a mental illness that runs in your family, you do your research into your family bloodlines. I had to be really careful because schizophrenia runs in my family. And if you have a tendency towards schizophrenia and it hasn't shown itself yet, maybe it just comes out as ADD, and you do a lot of weed, it can trigger the schizophrenia. It can trigger it. Massive amounts can do that if you are predisposed. So, but that's like 0.05% of the population who's tried marijuana. You know what I mean? Without anything. Yeah, exactly. Are you ever going to get your dinner done for Howie? I got to go. Let's say a prayer. It's been an hour and a half. This is the time where we come together and we extend our hearts and our hands to each other and to the rest of the world. And we drop all the boundaries of religion and we come together in the divine light of the Creator's love. That at least we can all agree upon, right? That's the one thing. That's all we have to agree on, is that God is love. And even if you don't agree with that, that's okay too. My God is love. Like I had somebody recently say, you gotta fear the wrath of the Lord. He's coming. I don't fear God. Why would I fear God? That's just man's. Oh my God. An entire city, an entire state or country had an earthquake and slid into the ocean. God's angry. No, that was a result of too many people making a choice to live there, or it's all about choices. God doesn't punish. That's not who God is. You're punishing yourself, right? How can I say it any better than that? Right? God wiping the earth clean, God remaking the planet, God killing everybody. That's not God. That's man's opinion on what happened. That's it. That's all. Yep. So, God is good. God is great. God is love. That's all I ever knew. And that's all, and that's not all I ever knew. That should have stopped right there when I was a child. God is great. God is good. Let us thank him for our food. Amen. If it could have been that simple, but then you got an entire plethora of people you run into your entire life that give you millions of different opinions. But that's because we're all millions and billions of different individuals, right? All right. I love you guys. Let's say a prayer. Let's do some deep breathing, cleansing, and you connect to your creator, and I'll connect to my creator, which is all the same creator, but we all have different relationships with him, don't we? So let's cleanse out any negativity. Let's breathe in God's love and breathe out any negativity that we may have been facing this past week. Hey, God, creator of all, how's it going? Thank you, God. I gotta say, thank you for my life. Thank you for the trials that made me who I am today, the trials I'm facing that are hopefully going to make me a better person, and for the validation that I am who I am because you made me who I am, because you gave me a grandchild, and my children, and my husband, and my friends, and my family. God, I'm so grateful. My YouTube family, my internet friends and family. You know what, God? There's a lot of folks out there who just aren't that lucky. Or maybe they are lucky and they just don't have the scope to be able to count their blessings. Or maybe they're so bogged down by the cares of the world, or health issues, or financial issues, or family issues, or addiction issues. All these things that plague us on a daily basis as human beings sometimes can overwhelm people so that they don't know how to count their blessings. And God, we lift all those people up to you so that even for a moment, when the light of your love pours down on them, they find peace. They find they can breathe. And if nothing else, they find they can keep putting one foot in front of the other until the next moment they draw upon your love and strength. Look after them, God, because we know you look after us. All right? So these people need a little bit of special extra attention. A lot of upheaval in the world, God. A lot of people telling us what to think and what to be afraid of. A lot of people edging, a lot of corporations and things edging, trying to bring in another war. Won't have it. We love you, God. I have faith. I have faith that all will be well, even when it's not. I will be able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Thank you. Amen. Namaste. Shalom. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part, blessed be, miigwech. Walk in the ever-shining light of God's love. It's all in the language, isn't it? Love. Take care. God bless. See you guys Thursday.